Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sabha Rapani, a general surgery resident, and today I have with me Dr. Isha Khadke. Dr. Isha has done her MBBS from Government Medical College, Aurangabad. She further completed her MD Pharmacology from Kasturba Medical College, KMC Manipal. She happens to be the batch topper of her batch. Currently, she's working as a medical lead in a company that is Novartis. Hello, Dr. Isha. Welcome. It's great having you here.
Hi, Dr. Sabha. So great to have
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
thank you. So, to begin with, I think pharmacology is one of the very important paraclinical subjects in medical profession. So, I would like to start with how is your MBBS and what made you choose pharmacology as your career option?
So I've done my MBBS from Government Medical College, Aurangabad. I am from the 2012 batch. And as
Oh,
we all,
Ghati.
yeah, I'm from
Okay.
the 2012 batch. So as we all know, like pharmacology is a subject that we study in the second year of MBBS. And I don't think while I was in my second year, I really thought that that would be the subject that I would choose to study in. Early on, actually, during my MBBS days, I always used to think that I might take up, medicine, and I wanted to be an endocrinologist. That was like an early dream while I was in my first or second year. But later on, through the course of MBBS and as I did my clinical postings, and especially through internship, that's when I realized that I would like to look for other avenues as well, apart from just doing clinical medicine. So I also had a keen interest in research bit of it, and I was thinking if I can explore that as well, and if there are any other options that are little non-conventional than choosing clinical medicine, because the working hours are crazy, and I never felt too drawn towards it, especially the surgical branches. Maybe medical a little bit surgical, but I never really thought that I would like to pursue. So that was my thought process, and actually, internship at a government college is quite hectic also. So it was quite tedious, and I remember I joined the classes for dams, but I had not really studied much for the entrance exam. So my thought process was that I'll probably put in one more year of effort and then I'll decide what to take up. But then I ended up giving the exam and I got a decent score. And then there were like a few options that I had that I could choose from. One of them was pharmacology. And when I realized that I was getting it in a college like KMC Manipal, I have done my MD from Kasturba Medical College, Manipal. So it's one of the most renowned colleges in the country. It's in the top five of the country, and then especially when it comes to paraclinical branches, what I've realized is having a good exposure at the beginning makes a lot of difference. So at KMC, that is something that I thought I would receive, and then I spoke with a few people across who've done pharmacology through different colleges, and I just decided to go with it because I realized there are multiple career avenues and opportunities that are available with this branch. So that was my journey. I mean, it was not very pre-decided, but it has been quite a nice and fun journey. I really liked it.
Perfect. I think two things. A, I can relate to your government college experience and internship. I've done
Yeah,
my MBBS MC, and Ghati has also been very close because that was also one of the options during counseling. And
yeah,
B, like you said, the initial exposure in pharmacology, any paraclinical branch is very important. And what I have seen is in the state colleges or from where we all come, we don't have as much exposure of pharmacology as you
yeah,
say it should. So
yeah,
we just see it as a paraclinical branch where we will do MD Pharma and become a professor or something in the hospital, and that is it. But the
yeah,
right thing, there is so much to it, like you said, in KMC and all of it. So that is what makes it what it is.
definitely.
So yes, I think you found your branch and you took up pharmacology. So after taking up MD pharmacology, like what are the further options? What all do we have except for being a professor in the college?
Sure. So, as I said, I took up pharmacology after speaking with a few people, and I realized that there are multiple options and opportunities that are available with this branch. Also, I felt that it's a little less saturated than most other paraclinical branches. And one important key factor is it's very independent. Like, when it comes to a lot of paraclinical branches like microbiology, like pathology, if I say so, or biochemistry, your lab setup and everything is a lot dependent on the clinicians from where you get patients, and and you have a lot of setup and infrastructure that is kind of needed. With pharmacology, I realized once I'm done, I am like, I can just start working right away. As you rightly mentioned, working in colleges as a lecturer or a, associate professor, that academic ladder is one option, of course. But apart from that, industry also provides a lot of avenues in the in terms of MD pharmacology graduates. So especially because I studied in KMC Manipal, we had a lot of exposure to these different avenues early on. So if I talk about what are the three primary areas where you can work as an MD pharmacology graduate in the industry, one is called the medical affairs, the other is called pharmacovigilance, and there's one more called clinical research or drug development. So these are three primary avenues where you can work. Now, most common of these is medical affairs, because there are more opportunities in that area. I also currently work in the medical affairs domain. I currently work as a medical lead with Novartis. So, if I am to explain all these different avenues, when it comes to
Yeah, because I think we have heard the terms while
yeah,
you were in sector,
yeah,
pharmacovigilance and all of it, but I think
yeah,
to go into a little detail for everybody to
yeah,
understand.
yeah, sure. So, when it comes to medical affairs, it's basically, it's like a bridge between the research and development of a company and the commercial or marketing aspect of the company, of a pharma industry. So, what we do is basically we are the medical face of the company. Now, any pharmaceutical industry is developing different medicines. Okay, so this development occurs through a long stage of drug development. There is preclinical development of the drug before it is actually initiated in patients, and then there are different phases of clinical trials that occur, after which the drug gets approved and it comes into the market. So, role of a medical person in industry starts even before the drug gets approved. Okay, so when it is in the research phase of it, whenever a new class of medicine is coming into the market, there is very less awareness amongst clinicians. If it's first in class sort of a molecule, if it's a very new product, then the clinicians are also not aware of the new research always. So many a times the medical phase of the company is the one who is trying to increase that awareness in terms of what is the unmet need in the current clinical practice. For example, if I'm to give an example, if I'm talking about a therapy area like diabetes, so India is like a capital of diabetes, right? So there are like millions of people who are suffering from diabetes. We have a lot of medicines to manage, but there is still a lot of patients who are not very well managed. So in such a situation, if some new class of drugs come into picture, like say the GLP-1 analogs, these are new medicines in the management of diabetes currently. So if the first ever product in this class is coming into the market, so of course the clinicians also need to be made aware of it. They also need to understand that where such product will stand in the line of management, whether it will be a first line, a second line, when do you switch, how to give the medicine, what happens if there is any adverse event that occurs, how to manage all those things. So everything related to the product even before the product is into the market, from there we start working. We also help in interpreting the data that is available with the product and make it easy for others to understand. So basically, we also, there are different inputs that are developed by the commercial team. I think you must have seen, when the MRs come into your clinics, there are these different pamphlets that they get where
Yeah,
product information is provided. So as a medical person, it is our duty to ensure that the whatever information is written on the pamphlet is medically correct. So reviewing that information and ensuring that we are providing a correct message is something that the medical team is looking at. So it's like a bridge between the R&D and the marketing. That's the most common avenue where most of the MD pharmacology graduates today work. Even I work in that domain. Then there is pharmacovigilance, which is basically you're talking about drug safety.
safety.
So
Yeah.
this is where we basically help in doing a causality assessment. So if any adverse event occurs with any medicine, So whether it is related to the medicine, how probable is it associated with the medicine, whether it is serious, it's non-serious. So all of this causality assessment is something that you do in pharmacovigilance. So many a times what happens is, if through clinicians, when they start using new medicines, so there is a prescribing information that comes with every medicine, right? The prescribing information gives you all the understanding of what are the possible adverse events with this product. But there is a possibility that after using the product for a long time, there is some new adverse event that happens, which is
That's
not
come.
known, which is not given in the prescribing information. So if multiple such reports come, then as medical people from the company, we help in developing this signal that this is a possibility, that this is a new adverse event that can occur, and accordingly the even the prescribing information can get modified. There is a possibility, if it's serious, the drug license may also get cancelled. So there are multiple implications of it. So these are the things that we work on. And then there is an aspect of clinical research, basically conduct of clinical trials and drug development. So that is one avenue. But there, I have realized in pharmacovigilance and clinical research, we also have a lot of, B Pharm, M Pharm, PharmD graduates. They are also quite a bit. There is a specific role for medical graduates, but these people also can be a part of the team. But whereas medical affairs, mostly you only have MD pharmacology graduates most commonly working in the domain. And so these are different avenues and that are available. There is also something called as medical writing. I have seen a lot of people going into medical writing. It's more of like a work from home job, where we are providing support in terms of writing research papers. So it's a writing support. It's not ghost writing. What we do is, like, there is a proper research that is happening, and after the research is completed, sometimes you need a writing support to write the paper. So it's an officially acknowledged, basically, support that we provide in terms of
Okay.
also work in those domains. So like these are the
Okay.
different avenues that you can have when it comes to pharmacology.
I have a very layman question. As a pharmacologist, will a pharmacologist be allowed to have a license to own a pharma shop and like a medical shop and sell drugs like the
No. So
no
that comes under pharmacy. That's
pharmacy
a
and not that? Okay.
basically, when you talk of MD pharmacology, it's a clinic. You're working as a clinical pharmacologist. So your role is basically, as we plainly put it in pharmacology, the effect of drugs on the body and effect of body on the drugs, what we say, pharmacokinetics and dynamics, that is actually what we are evaluating. So it's nothing to do with, selling products. That is not
Okay.
something that,
Okay. Comes.
basically is in the domain of pharmacology.
Okay. And over the 3 years of your MD, how was your residency like? Apart from the academics and seminars, what else
Yeah.
were there? Like have clinical testings on mice and rats and the trials and any of the research. Like how was it apart from like what we've seen in the normal state colleges? What I have come across is only mostly the acad part. So apart
Yeah.
from that, your experience, what else did you do?
So, as I mentioned about the different, aspects or avenues where you can work as a pharmacologist, I actually got a flavor of each of it a little bit while I was studying at KMC Manipal. So, I would again like to, reiterate that it's very important that you choose a very good college when it comes to studying paraclinical branches, because in paraclinical branches, it makes a lot of difference if you have exposure as far as the subject is concerned. Say, for example, I would say when it comes to medical affairs, so when I'm working in the industry, I need to understand what is my role in the industry. For that, I got an opportunity to work with a company called AstraZeneca for a couple of months in the medical
I
affairs domain while I was doing my
heard of COVID.
yeah, during the COVID times. So that is something that actually gave me an idea that what is my role and what is expected out of me while I'm working in the industry. So that was a really good experience, and it was a full-fledged, like, an interview selection process. The team had flown down to Manipal, we gave an interview, we did a presentation, and then a few of us got selected. So that was a very good exposure. We used to have a lot of industry academia connects. So I remember a team from Novartis had come to our college. And they had given us lectures, and there was a one-on-one interaction with their medical team to understand what they're doing, what is expected out of us, the soft skills that we need to learn when it comes to working in the corporate. So that was also something that we got to learn. In Manipal, we also have this concept of having adjunct faculties. So we had like people from Novartis and Pfizer who were associated with us, and they used to actually take classes, regarding some clinical research topics. Apart from that, our college was also a pharmacovigilance center. So we used to do a little bit of causality assessment and reporting adverse events. So I had some flavor of pharmacovigilance as well. Manipal also has a clinical research center, Manipal MCCR it is called, Manipal Clinical Research Center. So there also, we got an exposure of, work, how clinical trials work. It also has a bioavailability and bioequivalence center where we conduct these BA/BE studies. So, there's a concept of innovator medicine and a generic medicine. So,
Yes.
basically, when you're trying to test if the generic medicine is as good as the innovator medicine, that you do through the BA/BE studies. And these studies were also conducted in that center where we used to have a posting. So, so different avenues in pharmacology is what I got exposure to through Manipal. When you spoke about, animal studies, and also that's a preclinical aspect of drug development. So my thesis actually was, in the preclinical domain. So I have actually worked with rats. I was trying to, check the safety, efficacy of statins um, in the antidepressant mechanism of action, actually. So, I actually, handled animals, and I learned a very different aspect of medicine, which, we've never done through our MBBS. So Manipal was definitely a lovely experience. I mean, I don't think I would have learned so much anywhere else if it was not for Manipal. So yeah.
I think you have enlightened me as well, because all of this is something that we have just read in books or maybe seen in some movies or somewhere on internet of this happens, and how we are dealing with animals and doing the clinical trials and all these big fancy companies like AstraZeneca. But this is actually the reality. So it looks like pharmacology is a very good amalgamation of medical research and business, and there is a lot more to it than what we know during our MBBS time.
Of course.
Coming to the companies you've worked with, like Novartis and Novo Nordisk, all these I think have their main center or office in some foreign countries. So what are the options of us as a pharmacologist to go to a foreign country?
Okay. So now again, there are multiple options there. I have primarily worked with multinational companies. So I did my internship with AstraZeneca. Then I worked as a regional medical advisor with Novo Nordisk. It's a Danish company, and they have their headquarters in Denmark. And currently I work as a medical lead with Novartis. It's a Swiss company, and they have their headquarters in Basel, Switzerland. These companies are basically multinational, so they have offices all across the globe. Through company, you might get an opportunity to go into different regions, say Dubai, Singapore. Maybe if you go into some global role, you might also end up going to Denmark or Basel. But that's like a long process. Like you have to work for a few years, and if you get selected, you can directly go. Because I mean, most of these companies, it's not true for all, but most of these companies, when you're going on a job, you're working in the corporate sector, right? You're not treating patients per se. So you can usually start working as a corporate job. I mean, you need not have a licensing, done. For example, if an Indian medical graduate is to work as a doctor in any other country, you have to complete the licensing exam. So that's different, right? Yeah, so that's different because you're directly working in the company, you're not treating patients. So you may get a job and you can move across. Again, medical affairs has more such options because it's the most widely available, opportunity in the industry per se. And then, a few people I know have also gone, to universities to pursue their PhDs, and also that is also an option. So it depends if you want to study or you want to, go through jobs, but it's possible.
Perfect. I think for everybody who is looking for pharmacology but don't have a lot of information about it, this is going to be a beautiful interview on educating them of what exactly is there in pharmacology. Because we usually end up taking paraclinical subjects like patho or micro if we don't get clinicals. But I think
Yeah.
pharmacology is something which a lot of people are not aware of. And once they get
Yeah.
to know, you have put it so beautifully. I think it is a very big combination of work-life balance with good amount of money, with your medical skills, business, and research. So I think it is a very good option if people know about what exactly it is.
Definitely, it's a good option. I would definitely say that. And you spoke about, work-life balance. Yeah, I would say it's definitely a better work-life balance than most clinical subjects because it's usually a 5-day work week that I've seen. And also, but there is a different skill set that you end up learning, okay, when you work in the corporates. It's different from what you've learned through your years of, education, like MBBS and MD. What I've realized is we primarily interact only with doctors or our fellow students, or patients. We've not really interacted with a lot of other stakeholders. But when it comes to working in the industry, you're working with so many different stakeholders. You're working with commercial team, you're working with patient access teams, you're working with communications team, and then your fellow medical colleagues. And you realize that there is so much more. And when it comes to just medicine in general, because when you're talking about this drug development process, everything needs to fit the bill, right? It needs to be good for the patient, it also needs to be commercially viable. So there are a lot of different aspects to it, and you learn to interact, and you learn to understand what is the thought process of these different stakeholders and how do you deal with them. That is a learning process, and I think people skills is something that is very important when you're working in
Very,
the.
yeah. Very rightly, you said that throughout the education time, we are in this cocoon in a shell in the hospital with patients and doctors around. But
Yeah,
once you
yeah,
step into the corporate world, all these skills, and there is so much
quite
more
different.
outside.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
yeah,
something.
definitely.
All right. Also, after pharmacology, can we become a CEO of a pharmaceutical company?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's possible. I mean, I won't say just MD pharmacology, but like I know people from the medical background who have been CEOs of companies. Now, it's more of a commercial role, but yes, there's a possibility. Currently, if you see, if even the CEO of Novartis is a medical doctor. So there are
Oh,
people who can become CEOs. And then there is also an avenue of some people, actually do MBAs also after doing MD in pharmacology, and then they pivot into the commercial roles of the company also, so that is also a possibility. So it's definitely possible, yes.
perfect. So, towards the end, any message, any take home message that you would like to give to all the aspirants out there?
I think I would just say, every branch after doing MBBS has its own pros and cons. What's important is you evaluate the pros and cons in terms of what you want from your life in general, and you have to look at the total picture. It's not just about the subject, it's not just about the remuneration. There are a lot of factors, whether it's about your interest, it's about how you picture your life in terms of work life balance, what are the other things that you want to do in life apart from your profession. So all of these things also need to be thought of, because many a times what happens is I've seen a lot of people go behind the glamour of a certain branch, and many a times these all things are not thought of, and sometimes
Oh,
you end up thinking like, did I really want to do this in the end or not? So
yeah,
that can
exactly.
also happen. So it's very important that, yeah, so it's an informed choice in the end. See, every branch will have its own pros and cons. Nothing's perfect. You have to take that call understanding what you really want from your own life. That's my take home message. And as far as pharmacology is concerned, there are multiple opportunities and options. So if you like it, I mean, yeah, sky is the limit. There's a lot of things that you can do.
Perfect. All right, Dr. Isha, thank you so much for joining in. This was really very, very knowledgeable and enlightening. Like, I literally didn't know half of what we discussed today. So I really, really hope that this helps a lot of people who are looking forward for pharmacology as a branch and they get the information that they are looking for. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
Thank you
joining.
so much. It was lovely interacting with you, and I'm more than happy to help if anyone needs any guidance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.